The Kiwanis Foundation of Canada is pleased to bring you this presentation in our Kiwanis Post-Pandemic Education Series. We call it Kiwanis PPE. In this video, past International President Steve Siemens will be looking at keys to a successful 2021.
If you're not glad that 2020 is gone, then you and I need to talk. Isn't it amazing what a few months and a pandemic can do? Well, I want to suggest as we begin 2021 that we use some keys to overturn some of the things that we've had to deal with and make our clubs the best that they can be, most effective, and just use a key that unlocks some exciting things that we can do as a club. Now you can't see this, but I've got my keys here, the key to my house, key to my office, the key to the garage, my car keys. We need keys and we use keys. Today with keypads and combinations, we can even unlock things with our cell phone. It has changed, and so we don't use keys like I grew up using, or maybe you did as well. But I want to suggest today some keys that will make our clubs more enjoyable, more exciting, more productive, more effective, and some keys that we just need to use as we begin 2021. The first key is dreams. What are your dreams this year? How often do you dream? A part of every meeting I lead, if I'm the chairperson of that meeting, is we always have a dream time. It is so important that you and I have continually dreaming times where we are thinking about where we want to go, what we want to do, what we haven't done, and encouraging people to dream often. The poorest people today are not people without money, they're people without dreams. The poorest Kiwanis clubs are not clubs without money, they are clubs without dreams. And if you and I are not careful, we quickly forget the importance of dreaming and the importance of keeping those dreams alive in what we do and in how we do it. The second key that comes from dreams is planning. What plans do you have this year from the dreams? What things are you going to do differently this year because you're starting to plan and put legs to your dreams? Not having a plan is a plan. Not knowing where you're going to go as a club is a plan. And guess where you'll end up? You don't know. It is so important that you and I are planning. So how much time have you spent planning this year? How much time have you spent planning the meetings? The Zoom meetings take some extra planning. If we're going to keep people engaged, and if we're going to have a good time in those meetings, it's totally different at times than a face-to-face meeting. And so planning is very, very important in what we do and in how we do it. Failing to plan is a plan. And I'm just going to tell you from experience, a lot of clubs that I'm familiar with have failed to plan. The next key that is so important for us is a key that I talk a lot about, and it's the key of change. What changes are you going to make this year? If we're not careful, it is so easy to do what we did last year. It's so easy to get comfortable. It's so easy to stay where we've always been. And when we do that, we have a tendency as a club to fall into a survival mode rather than a mission mode. What you do to change is going to determine how successful your club is. And we struggle in Kiwanis. We struggle with our clubs at times in helping change happen. So what changes have you planned? Are you going to stay flexible this year? Are you going to be open and willing to change, realizing that there's bigger things that we need to talk about instead of just traditions or what we've always done? One key that's going to unlock your club is the key of change, and it is so important that you and I change. Another key that comes from dreams and from planning and from change is the key of risks. What risks are we going to take this year? What are we going to do differently? I believe that you don't ask if you're going to take a risk, you ask what risk are you going to take? And if you and I are going to have a club that's relevant, if you and I are going to meet needs that need to be met, if you and I are going to make plans and do some changes and have those dreams, it's going to require a willingness to take risks. I take a risk every time I speak. You know how I know what jokes work? I tell the joke. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You know what I do? I change. I know that if I don't try something as a speaker, I'm never going to know if it's going to work. And so it's important as your club leads this year that you are willing to take some risks. Do some things differently that you've ever done before, but risk it and fail forward. Because when you take risks, you will fail at times. But this key is so important in what you do and in how you do it. Attitude is another key. It is so important that you and I have a right attitude. Attitudes make you or break you. And if you and I are going to succeed in what we need to do and accomplish, it's important that we have the right key and we have the key of the right attitude. I can't change your attitude and you can't change mine, but you can change your attitude. And so if we're going to unlock our potential, it's going to require us to change our attitudes. Attitudes are the difference maker. And as we come off the pandemic, if we're not careful, we are carrying some of the attitudes, some of the bad attitudes that we've experienced from last year with us this year, which will do nothing but challenge us, limit us, hinder us in becoming what we need to become. It's important that you and I use the right key, and the right key is having a right attitude. The next key that I want to talk about is a key that I have talked about a lot, but a key that I have great passion for. I'm going to just tell you, I'm not very smart in many ways, and I'm not real talented in many ways, but I'm going to tell you one thing that I've had forever, and that is passion. One person with passion is worth more than 99 who have an interest. I'll take one person with passion any day other than 99 people that just show up. And if we're going to move forward this year, if we're going to overcome what we've gone through this last year, it's going to require us to lead with passion, serve with passion, live with passion, and be passionate. I want to encourage you this year to develop passion. It's something that can be developed. It's something that can be used to be effective. And it's so important as a club president or just as a member that every one of us are leading and serving with passion. It is so important that you unlock the potential, you unlock the door with passion. What's the final key? It's a key that all of these affect. All of these affect and all of these fit into. It's leadership. Everything rises and falls on the leader. It is so important that you and I, as leaders, do whatever needs to be done to think differently, to lead differently, and to be different. And leadership involves all of the keys that we've talked about. And so I'm encouraging all of us this year to be a group of Kiwanians that understand the importance of leadership and lead appropriately. I'm going to tell you something. You have a club president. You probably have a vice president. You have a club secretary. You have people that are, quote, leaders. But I'm going to remind us that every person in this club is a leader. And I come from the frame of reference and the perspective that I might have a title, I might have a position, but the bottom line is every person is a leader. And if you come to your club meeting understanding that every person is a leader, and if you come to your club meetings understanding that the key to leadership is so important, and you assume that leadership responsibility, you and I are going to have a great year. Here's the bottom line. If we don't start using the right keys, we'll just repeat what we did last year. If we don't use the right keys, we'll just be thinking like we thought last year. If we don't change and use the right keys, we'll allow the pandemic and COVID to absolutely be that black cloud that's over our clubs, over our lives, and just kind of defuncts us, depresses us, discourages us. If we as Kiwanis clubs can't offer something positive to people, even in a time of a pandemic, shame on us. But it's the key that's going to unlock your potential, the key that's going to unlock the door of the unknown, the key that's going to unlock those things that are so important in our lives and in our clubs. And if you don't unlock those things, they will stay locked, and you and I will suffer because of it. I designed this little presentation to be a club meeting or a board meeting or just a time to get a group of people together from your club and talk and dream and think. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up each one of these keys. I'm not going to say anything, because if you use this for a club meeting, I'll give you a chance to pause the video. The key will be in front of you, and you'll be able to talk about it. There's questions that go with these keys. There's comments that go with these keys. And if you will just get your members together and listen to their inputs and their thoughts, you're going to be able to do some things that I believe will be very important this year, and some things that will help us to rise above and to step higher, to grow, and to become even better. 2020 was a bad year. 2020 is a year I don't want to repeat. But unless you and I use some keys to make some changes, we'll allow 2020 to cloud 2021, and in the process, lose that momentum, lose that enthusiasm, and lose our effectiveness. So I hope you'll accept the challenge. What do we need to do using these keys? The best is yet to come. Even through challenges, the best is yet to come, if you'll use the right key.